Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Not a Strong Start. Have not said that one in a long time. We got
Right?
the trio back together. In case you forgot, it's a podcast where we talk movies, shows, video games, and whatever other random things that catch our attention. I am your host for this episode. Didn't we even forgot to put our fancy names, but I'll just I'll just be Ramos Jose for this one.
I am Daniel de Sangre. So, in case you're wondering where I've been, I've been reshooting Gravity 2. So I've been out in space this whole time. So I decided to check in on planet Earth and see how everybody's doing.
Have you found Sandra yet? We're still looking for her.
Not yet, but we already scheduled that out a month ago, so we'll be all right.
Well, luckily you got your other guy here, George. I'll be your George Clooney fill-in, just floating around telling you your inner thoughts and what you got to do to get back home.
Which is actually ironic because you do that anyways in our chat. So there you go.
In this episode, we're going to ease our way back in and cover some just recent things that have been in the news over the last few months, revolving around aliens, a little Street Fighter, a little Heat, and stuff. So we're going to be covering these things right now. Thank you for joining us. With no further ado, let's get right into it. You came in here for the meat. So let's do it. First subject that we want to touch on is Alien. Now, we just finished off Alien Earth not too long ago. We had Alien Romulus come out also not too long ago. So we are up and running when it comes to Alien. Fortunately, Disney's actually doing something with that project. Recently, it came out that Sigourney Weaver had a conversation with Walter Hill,
Yeah.
who was the producer on the Alien franchise, and I believe he also co-wrote on Alien 3.
The
Anyway,
better of the aliens.
yeah, yeah.
He said sarcastically.
But she met, and then if you follow along Sigourney Weaver in the past, she's pretty much just put the nail in the coffin when it comes to the character coming back. It really seemed like she had no interest. She felt like that time had gone and passed. And honestly, I was under the same impression myself. But she says she recently read the first 50 pages, I think the only 50 pages that were
Yeah.
written by Walter, and it intrigued her. So now there's consideration, and she's been having discussion about possibly bringing Ripley back. Now, not much of what the actual content of the 50 pages have come out. Speculation is that it revolves around possibly her imprisoned and being hidden away because, of course, she knows way too much. She's been a lot of trouble for Yutani. And if we recall last time we saw the Ripley character, well, Ripley 2.0, I believe she was making her way down to Earth at the end of Resurrection. So Dan, get you back in the groove again. We'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Ripley possibly coming back? And we know it won't be a Romulus; it'll be a separate alien project taking place in the future. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so thank you for that introduction, Jose. So I feel, she was coming back for Resurrection, and as we famously know, she was paid a crap load of money to be in that movie because I don't think she wanted to do it. I'm one of the few eight of us that really love Alien Resurrection, so I'm okay with it if it's a cash grab. With this one, I'm wondering if they're paying her a crap load of money as well for this one. I don't think they've kind of reported anything like that, right, about her kind of potential
Right now, she's
salary.
just read the script. Nothing's even greenlit. There's just been
Okay.
discussion about possibly do the script. I don't think is even done. Supposedly, she
Okay.
might help with
Oh,
finishing
perfect.
off the script.
Okay. So I think that's good. And maybe she's started believing more about the potential, or maybe just the concept itself is better, right? Because I think we can all agree aliens got in a way better direction. They're getting back on track now with the xenomorphs. They've expanded on the world, whether you like it or not, with Alien Earth. They're at least know a direction that they're going in now. It doesn't feel like just like Alien versus Predator. They're just like throwing the xenomorph all willy-nilly around. So, you know, um, I like that she's coming back. It just really depends on how we need her back because if they stay with the same mythology, then she's still clone Ripley, right? So I'm assuming that they're not, retconning Alien
It
Resurrection or
would have
anything.
to be. It would have to be.
Yeah, so if they end up doing that, then you're killing Alien 3 and Alien 4. essentially. So like that's sad. So I guess if it comes at the caveat that they're gonna have to retcon Alien Resurrection, then I would rather not have it unless it's really, really, really good and I love what they do with it, basically, which, you know.
If they're going with the imprisoned storyline that's rumored out there, it most likely would be Clone Ripley. We saw her heading into Earth at the end of Resurrection. Most
Oh,
likely
so
with
we'll be
Johnny, it
Clone
was like
Ripley. Okay.
that's this. If
Okay.
they're going with that
Yeah.
imprisonment aspect, it makes sense that it's Clone Ripley, where they're like, okay, real Ripley screwed us over. You mess us up again when you killed the xenomorph that had too many Tylenols in the womb, and and now you're coming down here to Earth. So it would make sense that it's her, and they're kind of keeping her in hiding.
I'm a kind of person that's like nail in the coffin. Like this, we're done with this already. Not that we're done with the Alien franchise, but like certain characters we can be done with. Like we should
Hmm.
have learned from this from movies like Dark Fate, Terminator. Just because you bring back Linda Hamilton doesn't mean the movie's gonna be good. You know, it's just like she's awesome. Yeah. I don't want to see an older actor try to be badass anymore. I'm sorry. It just doesn't do it for me. Because I see scenes where like someone like her is holding a rocket launcher and it doesn't even give her any kickback. And I'm just like, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I don't care how jacked your old arms are. And I don't want to see Sigourney Weaver try to be in that same situation.
Oh
You
God.
know, it's like it just doesn't gonna work for me. And like, what is the old sage? That's just like back in my day, aliens were doing this. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Yeah, you know. So I'm just not for it. I like Dan, you brought up a good point. I think it's just money. That's all it is. Because this was a while back, what, 10 years ago? Wasn't Neil Blomkamp gonna do an alien and it seemed like it was gonna
Hmm.
be great? And she was like, yeah, this sounds good. I'm on board. Yeah, she's on board with whatever dollar signs are popping up. So it's like her approval means crap to me, honestly.
Her
As-
character's acid blood is not the only thing that's green.
Exactly, bro. So yeah, I'm not for it. I love Alien still. If you can give me a good, compelling Alien story like Romulus, I'm on board. Give me more of that. But I don't think we have to go back into the well of like our nostalgia characters. She had her time, and she was a part of the best of it. Let's not tarnish her legacy with this franchise any further. You know, just let it rest, as far as I'm concerned.
And George, I agree with like 95% of what you just said right now.
Where's the
I
five? Where's the five?
yeah, we'll
Where's
get to the five. Uh,
the...
but I agree. I said just let it go. Leave the character alone. We have seen in this has been happening. I would say like the last like 10 years, where old franchises decide they want to bring back legacy characters back, and we've seen it go okay to okay to horribly wrong. The 5% is I actually feel Terminator Fate was not that bad. Maybe the other ones were so bad that elevated that one, but I was actually entertained by that one. But then that was an example of like, okay, that didn't go horrible. But then we had like Texas Chainsaw Massacre bringing in their legacy character, and that went horrendous in every way possible. So there's a high risk already with doing that, and I feel there's less success than there is success with doing that. I mean, this one wouldn't have to worry about the kickback since she is like a clone and she's stronger and all that stuff. So I don't think that'll be an issue. Uh,
Okay.
but I don't. We don't need to see it. I like what happened with Romulus. I liked most of Earth before they fumbled at the end of it, but there were signs of at least going in the right direction with certain things. Keep going with this. Don't be like, oh, we're having success now. Quick, let's bring the old stuff back because that's how you can easily kill the franchise as it's starting to kind of gain momentum again. Tell new stories. Don't pull a Star Wars and keep rehashing the same characters over and over again till you're beating it like a dead horse. Like,
Just to kill him, right? Like
yeah,
if they bring her
Yeah.
back just to kill her, just to show that they're passing on the baton, like we don't need to do that. We just saw Romulus that they didn't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Like make sure that when you bring her back, it's for story purposes and not just character purposes, if that makes sense. Like I just give us something, man. Make it a reason why. And if they go They won't anymore because CGI has gotten so much better. But if they would have done it where you see like the stunt actor who slightly you see their face when they turn and they're punching a guy and it's flying back, it's supposed to be her, and it's like a dude in a wig. That would be kind of funny. But they're not gonna do that now.
Now, instead of doing another Ripley movie, why don't we just spend time and focus and energy on repairing the damage you did to the Xenomorph's reputation in Alien Earth? Spend time doing that. All
Yeah.
right, make it a formidable, scary killing machine again instead of a pet. Like, do that. Another, I guess, old property that's being brought back after the massive failure that was the original is we have Street Fighter coming back. And while not a lot of the story details have come out yet, they full out given us the cast list going forward the last like couple of months, and it seems like it's finalized now. I'm not sure if George, I know you did. Dan, I don't know if you had a chance to actually see what the cast list looks like
Hmm.
for like
Oh
Street
yeah.
Fighter overall.
Rough.
But George, I know you are a massive Street Fighter fan. You love the games. Call yourself a elite Street Fighter player. So we'll
I've
start with
never called
you.
myself an elite Street Fighter player. Let's put that out there
You've
first and
you've
foremost. All
insinuated it,
right.
George. You
It
have
is.
insinuated.
I'm
It's
just,
been the subtext.
I'm better than a normal person. That's what it is.
Here at
Any,
NASS,
yeah.
George is gonna go barf. He's gonna fight anybody that's out there
Yeah,
that listens. You want to challenge George? He will squash you.
yeah. You got PlayStation 5. Put it in the comments. George will take you down.
Yeah, going down. Down to Chinatown. But yeah, yes, I love a Street Fighter. You can't tell, but I have my Street Fighter characters back there in my cubby and everything. Dude, man, when I saw this casting, like, because they were trickling information of how the casting was going, and I saw Andrew Koji put in there as Ryu, I was like, oh, Andrew Koji from Warrior? All right, I'm down with that. That dude's dope. Let's go. I always mess up this kid's name, but it was like Noah Centino, or
Oh,
from
the guy from the Recruit.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna be Ken. And I was like, but then I saw pictures, I was like, oh, okay, maybe he could do it. Because Ken's kind of like an aloof, jokey kind of guy at times, besides being a tough guy. And I felt like maybe he can capture some of this. Okay, this could be a fun dynamic between these two guys. But then the rest of this casting started coming out. And I don't know what the hell's going on. I feel like they're trying to recapture the essence of the other Street Fighter movie. I don't know if that's the right way to go. Yeah, so we got like Andrew Schultz. I don't know if you guys are familiar who this guy is,
Oh
but
yeah.
he's a stand-up comedian, a decent comedian. I like some of his stuff. He's gonna play Dan Hibiki. Now, if you're not familiar with who Dan Hibiki is, he's a Japanese character who is a joke. He's supposed to be a joke that's pointing at us and everything for always picking like the Ryu Ken characters, as most of us do. And he sucks. He's the worst character you're gonna pick. Like he's just a pitfall of hilarity. But the point is, he's Japanese. All right, his last name is Hibiki, and they're picking an Italian guy to play the Japanese guy. And I was like, all right, maybe it's gonna end here. Maybe this is the last of like the jokes,
Oh
right?
no.
No, it doesn't stop there. It doesn't. We got Orville Peck, all right, the LGBTQ freaking country extraordinaire. Very funny guy and very stylish. He's gonna play the Spaniard Vega. Just because someone wears a mask doesn't mean they have to play a masked character. I'll put a mask on and I'll play Vega. What the hell? Let's go. Let's go. It's like it just gets worse and worse. 50 Cent as Balrog. 50 Cent is 50. What are we doing here? All right. Like this whole like list, it just gets worse and worse, man. There's like 10 wrestlers in here. Like I don't know. I am flabbergasted, all right, with what I what I am seeing this. And maybe it's because like we have a semi quasi decent Mortal Kombat out now, and part two looks like it could be amping it up with the introduction of Johnny Cage, and it looks like they're really leaning in to that fun factor, the cheese, like good cheese, not cheese in the sense of like let's just throw shit at the wall and maybe someone will do some cocaine and we'll have money, you know. I don't know, man.
With this one, I looked at the list and I was like, okay, on the positive end, what I consider the big four are at least real actors. So Ryu, Ken, Chun Li, and
Yeah.
Bison are real actors.
Oh,
So I was like,
Bison! Don't
okay,
get me started on Bison. Oh my God! Oh, I'm
but
sorry. I'm sorry.
yes,
I'm sorry.
but
I
but
love David Das Mountain. It's just, oh
but
man.
at least
Oh
at
man.
least it's a real actor. So I
Yeah.
was just like, okay, then I just got through the wrestler list. I'm like, we got wrestlers, we got comedians, we got rappers, we got MMA fighters. So like, not a lot of acting ability to go here. Now, if these are gonna be silent characters and you're just gonna have them fight, maybe the wrestlers and the MMA fighters might not be bad. Just don't give them any lines. Then you got the comedian and the rapper in there. So it just seems like a whole mess that I feel. Wait. And the other thing, you've got all these wrestlers in there. How is someone not playing Zangief? When you got all these wrestlers, wasn't Zangief the actual
He's
wrestler
the actual wrestler.
Yeah.
Yes.
in there, and
Yes.
you don't put a wrestler to like play him?
At least he looks good. I got to give him that.
Yeah.
At least the guy they got, he looks like he could be Zangief.
Yeah.
And I'm about for stuff like this, it's about visuals. Visuals go a long way because that's what we've been living on is how these characters look. So I'll give them that as opposed to
George.
like not Roman Reigns, who's playing freaking Blanca, freaking
Oh, Jason Momoa.
Jason
Jason
Momoa.
But
Yeah, we
but
forgot
that's
to even mention
yeah.
him.
But that's the thing, George. They threw like that out the window of the authenticity of the character.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna throw it, at least put the wrestler as the wrestler. But like I feel seeing this cast that the only way this has a chance of being successful, the only way is if they go so damn campy and so like that you hope that you win with dumb entertainment and it becomes a cult classic, like one of those bad movies that people go back to because it's so bad because it's so camp and they lean into
Like Street
it.
Fighter.
I don't know how many people are going back to Street Fighter.
If you want to have a cheesy Saturday afternoon, yes. Sometimes you
Yeah.
go back to Street
Yeah.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Those have been
But
fun.
with this casting, I feel like that is the only. If they try to go serious, this is going to fail. If they accidentally go like a certain amount of campy, it's gonna fail. They have to lean into it and just recognize like this is gonna be a disaster. We're not. This isn't going to be a good movie. Let's hope we could be a good bad movie that people come back to when they, under the influence of adult products and want to come back and just kind of laugh at a movie and they kind of return to it.
Yeah.
That's how we see this being successful.
I
Dan,
think
what do you-
there's I think there's one other way that you can do this, and this is going to be a big stretch. But I think the only way you could maybe pull this off too without having it be like a really bad movie is by leaning into the fact that Street Fighter, is it fair to say, George, that Street Fighter is not known for its storytelling? Is that fair to
I would
say?
have said yes at one time, but no, it
Yeah.
actually has a very
It's gotten
in-depth-
better, right?
Yeah, well, just they have the animes that came out like
Yeah,
in the late
okay.
80s.
Okay,
So
okay.
like it actually is known for having a decent story
Okay.
over these like decades. You
Yes.
know?
no Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's
Mortal
what I was gonna
Kombat's
say.
gotten
So
really good. Yeah.
that's exactly the point that I was gonna say is that Mortal Kombat has a lot of lore to it, at least to the average consumer, not to the ones that are heavily involved in playing the video games, but like at least to the average consumer. I feel Mortal Kombat has a lot of lore to pull off of, so that requires a little more acting. I feel like with Street Fighter, the only approach you can take is if this director goes really good on us in terms of like the action directing. That's a way that you can possibly show it, is like if you basically minimize the dialogue and you just give us some really cool badass action sequences, almost like Raid 2. Like you kind of give us something like that where you just give us really good, really great in-depth fighting and some cool badass looking stuff, which real fighters and MMA fighters would be able to do. That's how I can see you can kind of give us something like that, like sort of like what do they call that, like the gore, not gore, but like the fighting, the martial arts aspect of it, like that, the porn version of that, of us seeing that and seeing that the violence, I guess, the violence gore of whatever we have of that. That's the only way I can see you can really doing that without having it be cheesy bad, which I don't think they would want to lean into originally because all these actors and these people are going to cost money. So the budget is going to be at least what, 50, 70 million, possibly. Like, I mean, at least.
That's generous. Yeah, it could probably be more
Yeah,
than that.
You
exactly.
also got to take into account like a lot of these characters have abilities, powers. So then you've got the visual effects that have to
Yep.
come with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything that the first one lacked, they have to improve upon. The first one had barely any fighting. Like the only fighter they had was Jean-Claude Van Damme, and
Yeah,
he's fighting a
exactly.
poor guy who's freaking passing away from AIDS. It's like we're gonna get much from that, you know. And like I said, you mentioned David Dasmalchian. It's like phenomenal actor. I've got to talk to the guy many times. Awesome dude. I feel like they wasted a great talent on this character. This character is a beefy character. I mean, visually, a
Yeah.
beefy character. All right, and I just don't see him taking on like who would be the nemesis, Andrew Koji Ryu. It's like, oh, man, poor Andrew. He's gonna get his ass kicked. Like he has no chance. Like he's got that menacing demeanor. Like he's got a great face and a great presence,
Mm-hmm.
but physically, I don't know. Like unless they're gonna CG him or he's gonna put on some padding, like he just doesn't have the visual presence of like you're gonna take on this guy. You're gonna take on Ken. Like the guy who's playing Ken, he's a beefy guy.
He's
Like he's
gotten
got some,
jacked, I think.
yeah, he's getting really jacked for this movie. But like if you've watched Warrior, Andrew Koji knows how to fight. Like that dude's got some skills. All right, man. Some of these guys, like I can't imagine freaking Cody Rhodes, who's great in WWE. I think he's really fun, great personality. I don't see him doing a sonic, well, not sonic boom, but like a flippy kick. He's not gonna do a flippy kick. That's not his style. He's not like there's just certain guys in here. I don't see them doing martial arts. Wrestlers aren't known for doing martial arts. They're known for
You,
being thrown around. You know.
you, you think Schultz can't handle himself out there?
If you ask Andrew Schultz, he'll talk a big game and be like, you know, I take some boxing or whatever. I could do this. But it's like you're not playing a boxer. You're playing a guy who should do martial arts. I'm sorry. I don't think he can do a full kick. Personally, I don't know. Maybe he
Okay,
gets fouled on the court.
so if I learn anything from this, George wants his guys beefy, so we need them beefy. You get us
Yeah.
beefy Street Fighter actors. We're good.
Where's
Where's
the
the
beef?
beef?
Where's the beef?
So we will see. When this is set to come out, George? Do you know?
It says possibly 2026.
That's not happening.
This spring. Yeah. Okay.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the smart move is not to be anywhere near Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat got moved
Yeah.
to this blockbuster season coming in, and that's looking like they learned from their. I don't hate the first one; it had flaws, but there was some good stuff in there too that I did enjoy. Take away the main character, but it feels like they learned and they made a conscious effort to highlight everything that makes Mortal Kombat good for the new one. So like I'm looking forward to that. This looks like it should be nowhere near within the same year of it.
How many Oscar noms are we predicting here? 2, 8, 12?
They still have the Razzies, right? That's still a thing. I think clean sweep in the Razzies.
in the Nick Awards here.
The Slime Awards, whatever they call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Watching it day one.
Yeah. Moving on to the next topic here. This is something that it's been around for years, but this individual, Bill Maher, has kind of resurfaced recently with it. He originally made the comments back, I believe it was 2018, and then in something else last month, I think he resurfaced with it. And that is Bill Maher's like disregard and pretty much dislike for comic books and superhero movies and that entire like aspect of it. His thoughts are they're not for adults, they're not real literature, and they're dumbing culture down. Basically, adults who like them have failed to grow up. Plots are basic with no real meaningful content or message. So that's his overall thoughts on it. Of course, he elaborated a lot more of it, but that's the base concept of what he's saying on that, and he's doubled, tripled down, and even after years of that fading away, because he originally also made some of those comments right after Stan Lee passed away, which
Yeah.
people were not too happy because it was taken as a dig at Stan Lee. Also, basically like why are we celebrating like someone who provided that, like that is not allowing adults to grow up. So that's what it is. Dan, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, so first of all, like, who still listens to Bill Maher? Like, the guy's just been talking into like just like an echo chasm, like chasm to himself over and over again. Like, who listens to this guy anymore? But the fact that he says that there's no good plots, you said, right? Like no good storytelling or anything like that. I
Yeah.
mean, has he not
It's
seen the movie
childish to
Logan?
him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's child. Like, have you not seen Logan? Like, it tells us clearly you made an assumption. Maybe you saw early superhero movies, which I highly doubt. I'm thinking he's probably going back since like Superman, just watching the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. He clearly made a decision, stopped, and then just stamped it. And I despise people that sit there and talk on these platforms that just go into these deep details about their opinion, and it's not based on anything, just based off of assumptions. I despise that. Like, do your research before you come in here and you want to explain about something. If you're not that knowledgeable on it, and his take is more of like, I feel it's like this, I'm not watching them because to me it feels like this. I get it more, but he's talking so matter of fact. Um, it's interesting when he uses the idea that, the fact that adults still watch superhero movies, we're not fully growing up, I guess. It's that's more like a philosophical question, right? Because when we were younger, that's what comic books were labeled as. But now with our generation, even maybe a little generation before us and definitely generation afterwards now, that idea of what's considered adult and what's considered child now is not something that a 60, 70-year-old is going to be able to tell us now, because we define now what is considered adult activities. So the fact that we choose to watch comic book movies, it doesn't make it any childlike, because it's like an old concept of what he feels superhero movies are. As we've seen new, more current superhero content, a lot of the storylines, the plots are adult story. Like they are, like we talk about X-Men and how it's rooted in dealing with racism. That is absolutely adult content. Like a child's not going to fully understand that. Like my 7-year-old's not going to sit there and watch it and then know exactly and be able to understand it as I would,
Just gonna
right?
sit there and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
Fight
exactly.
the power.
Wakanda. It's like, when he starts doing that, he doesn't even understand what he's doing behind it. So I just think it's not so much that we have to argue, I think, about the idea of, and this is just my own opinion, but I don't think it's us having to defend the idea of comic books. I think it's more attacking of his idea of what he considers adult activities versus child activities.
like my thoughts on it is comics, like film, like novels, those are a median. And in these mediums, they can tell any story. It's not just superhero stories. He talks about like it's only superhero movies. Just off the top of my head. So was Road to Perdition childish? Was that a childish movie with childish content and absolutely no plot to it?
I mean, we
That's a
are seeing
comic
it through
book.
the eyes of a child, so I guess so.
Yeah, that's a comic. Yeah, that's a comic book movie. In there, so his comments they show ignorance towards the thing he's arguing against. He's categorizing the whole median into one genre. And like Dan was saying, that's showing you're arguing against something that you really don't even understand or doing the research or taking the time to look into it. And for someone who's a talking piece on TV, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Be knowledgeable on these things so then you can, regurgitate whatever nonsense it is that you want to say. So does he consider historical content or things that are set in absolute reality, does he consider only those things as literature? So is Shakespeare not literature? Is Greek mythology not literature? Those things are not, some of those stories, they're not based in reality. Is that childish? Does it have to come from a history book for it to be there and completely grounded in proven reality? I guess if to him, like things some people consider the Bible literature, so not to him, because that's not improvable reality in there. So maybe those people should grow up and stop believing in an imaginary figure by his like argument. And even if you do just stick with the hero content, and and Dan touched on this a little bit, he's looking very surface level of it, because there's in some of these projects there's deeper issues being addressed in many of that content beyond my superpower versus like your power. Dan mentioned the X-Men. That's a very popular one that dives into those like inner aspects. You have philosophical aspects that are discussed within the context. You have political aspects that are touched on within the aspect. You got human society issues that are incorporated into these stories. Is that not important, or are you just looking at the pew 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 and be like, oh yeah, no, that's all it is. So, and then like lastly, before I throw it to you, George, just because this annoyed the crap out of me, is are even even if there was no deep substance to it, are adults not allowed to escapism and entertainment? Are we not allowed to do that? Should we just be reading dictionaries, encyclopedias, and history books when we hit adulthood? And at what point is that? So when we turn 18, when we turn 21, should we just forego all entertainment and only read reality based aspect, forget our imagination, forget our creativity, and just leave all those childish things behind? And if we, on another level, if we cannot be in touch with our childhood and in that aspect of us, how are we to interact with our own kids and newer generations? Because if we block all that off, how can we find that common ground when we're playing with our kids, when we're enjoying content with our kids, when we're guiding the kids through their child content? If we completely cut off, how can we do that aspect? Floor is
Papa
yours.
Papa Jose coming in, man. Talking from the heart.
That was his Balrog moment right there. It's like, wait, the Street Fighter.
uh, Obviously, I was very much annoyed when this first happened back when Stan Lee had passed and he brought this up. But over time, I was like, you know what? He said this on his show. There's writers for that show. This could be a collective of thoughts that he has to present for everyone together. But then, like 12 days ago, when he's on his own personal show, The Club Random with Seth Green, talking about this again, and he brought it up on his own accord. No one prompted this. It's all on him. It's like, oh no, these are your thoughts. Because his Club Random show, he promotes it as like, this is not a scripted thing. This is just me hanging out. It's at his house in his basement with people he wants to talk to. Like he's pretty much trying to be Joe Rogan, you know. And he's like, so this is just we're just shooting the shit. We're just hanging out. These are conversations I'd have with or without the camera. So it's like, all right, so now these are your thoughts. So you're saying as a comedian, as someone who's getting high and drinking alcohol in front of a camera, that you believe this thing isn't literature and it shouldn't be celebrated. It's pretty hypocritical if you ask me. And to call something like that immature and not very adult-like. I think it's immature to get inebriated in front of a camera and then spout out things about politics and economics to people as if you know something. That seems irresponsible to me. That doesn't seem like a mature thing to do. I'm just saying, just a thought. I'd also say it's like on the hypocritical side, it's like you're a comic. Comics aren't seen as respected things in the arts. You know what I mean? It's harder for them to make it in the Hollywood world and be respected for their craft. They're not seen as doing anything that's worthwhile. So, and a lot of people feel like you can't get anything out of being a stand-up comic. You can't tell anything meaningful. But then you got someone like Dave Chappelle who gives us very meaningful, thoughtful things. Should we not take his thoughts and see the depth of where he's coming from with his comedic tone? Like he's giving you a wealth of information while making you laugh. Bill Maher himself uses comedy to inform people and entertain people. But if comedy is a form of just laughter and that's it, and we take nothing else from it, then that means there is no other levels. It just is what it is. But he's trying to show there's other levels. So it's interesting that he can do that with comedy, but yet he can't see comics can give you so much more. Especially being a guy who came from a time where comics in the 1960s and 70s were dealing upon, like you said, race and everything. There's an issue of Green Lantern and Green Arrow dealing with drugs. It's on the cover where the Red Arrow is injecting himself with heroin or whatever drug it is, and they're trying to stop him. So it's like this is heavy stuff for just kids, you know. So I just find it interesting, like how one thing is okay, the thing that he does is good, but everything else is bad. Like where does it, like you said, Jose, where does the line get drawn? When you're a kid, you play baseball, right? I played little league. I played basketball. That was a very kid-like thing to do. My dad wasn't playing baseball. He was working a job like a grown-up would do. So should I have left baseball behind and not done that because that was a childish thing? But what about baseball players? Are they being childish? They made a career out of it. I'm confused here. Like where does it end? Where does it stop? You know? So it's the hypocrisy that really bothers me about the whole statement. And just like you're a man who's of the world and you consider yourself the smartest person in the room kind of demeanor, read a book. Let it have pictures in it. You might learn something.
You mentioning hypocrisy, it just reminded me of something. Wasn't he in Iron Man 3? The thing he's criticizing, but he took a paycheck to be in it.
Hmm.
Just throwing that out there.
I mean,
Yeah.
he gets paid part from Warner Brothers, doesn't he? What's the
Hmm.
Bill Maher show under? Isn't it under
I think so.
WB?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
does the freaking DC comic books? I'm like, come on, you're biting the hand that feeds, man.
Yeah.
And you know a lot of what he says is just to build up views and all that stuff. So I feel like he purposely says controversial comments just for those purposes. But I don't know, man. Like it's still an ignorant take, but I feel like that's the only way he's making himself relevant because I feel like people always go out of their way to see his clips just to argue with him, right? Because like how many people actually sit there and say, "Oh, I need to watch the latest episode. This guy's on." Like I mean, the guy's just clinging on to like whatever last few viewerships or whatever he can, whatever dying fan base he has. I
Yeah.
mean, his views are so antiquated.
Let's end this on a better topic, a more fun topic here. This is a movie that I believe all of us have enjoyed. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're all fans of the original Heat movie. To the day, to me, considered one of the best heist movies ever. Still holds up, still a classic, still amazing. For years, there's been rumors about a Heat 2, coming out. And I remember when I first heard about those rumors, I was like, let it have. Some things you just don't need to have a prequel or sequel to. Some things can just stand on their own for, eternity. Like, let it go. But as it became more reality and I found out like Michael Mann will be the one directing it, I was like, all right, well, at least it has the original director. It is based off of something that's already created. Supposedly is based off of the can't even call it a Heat sequel book or whatever. Let's call it Heat 2, but it's a prequel and a sequel at the same time, because it kind of jumps back and forth from before the events of Heat and after the events of Heat. So at least, so I started feeling more comfortable about it. The
Is there a term for that? Real quick, like is it like a prequel sequel thing? Like is there a term?
A pre-sequel?
pre-sequel, pre-sequel,
I don't know.
prosecco.
Prequel. There you go. Now we just
Yeah,
coined it.
there you go.
Copyright that. Prequel. There we go.
Yeah,
All right.
it's what they're on when they come up with these ideas. Yeah.
Put it on the shirt.
But needless to say, I started warming up to the idea a little bit more. I know WB and Michael Mann, they've been going back and forth for a while to try to get it. Just kind of, they couldn't agree on the budget. Michael Mann, of course, wanted a bigger budget. WB wanted a lower budget. Supposedly, Michael Mann has a reputation with studios of blowing by budgets. So WB wanted to be really strict kind of with the budget. They couldn't come to an agreement, but WB agreed to allow Man to shop it out. And it looks like Amazon is jumping on board and we're meeting his budgetary demands for it. So it's going to move forward with Amazon Studios. Right now, there's cast is still rumored, but the DiCaprio is rumored to be in talks to play Chris, Val Kilmer's character. Other people that are supposedly rumored to be Michael Mann pushing to kind of get on board include Austin Butler, Adam Driver, Bradley Cooper. So kind of trying to build an all-star cast if all these rumors are correct.
It pulls at me because you say those names and it's like, oh, that's a solid tight cast right there. Like if they're able to get all those people, it's like I like all those people. Like I haven't seen Leo in really a bad project in the past, what, 20 years? I feel like everything he's done has been solid and knockout. Like he's very mindful of what he does. So it's like in that perspective, it's like that could be really good. But I don't want to see him take on the role of someone else that we already had. If this is a continuation of that world, I can't envision him as Val Kilmer, and I almost feel like it puts a stain on what Val Kilmer added to the movie. You know, so it's like I would like him to play to someone new as opposed to a recurring role. But damn, man, it's a solid freaking group of people. At the same time, I don't want a new Heat. Like I like Heat so much. Like I don't want to touch that. Like let it be what it is. I'd rather wait another 10 years and just remake it with a whole new, perspective maybe. But like I don't know if I want to see those people again in this lifetime.
We have Heat sequel at home. It's called Den of Thieves. With this one, the cast has me very intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm assuming DiCaprio is he's not in his heyday right now. So if they are going with this story of the prequel and the sequel, he would most likely have to be playing older Chris, which is him eluding the cops, trying to get back to his girl and all that aspect. So like I'm with you, George. I know we can't do Val Kilmer anymore, unfortunately. Rest
Yeah.
in peace. But as much as I love DiCaprio, I don't want to see him playing. Like it's gonna mess
Yeah.
with me as I'm watching it, watching him play this character, which I really like because Val Kilmer is an MVP in Heat, and he was really good in that character. It's gonna really throw me off watching that. And then, of course, you're going to get the younger version of the character, which, if they go by this, I'm guessing maybe Austin Butler would be like the younger version
Maybe.
with it. And no, I don't want it. The more I'm warming up more, but then like I think about it, if they go that route, and again, this is all rumor speculation. This can all change. They can completely say, F the book and go in a completely different direction. But as it is right now, if they go through that and DiCaprio's having to play Chris, I feel like it's gonna be hard for me as a viewer, like fully immersing myself, because I'm just gonna be thinking like, ah, that's not Val. That's not Val. Like that's not Val. Love you, DiCaprio as an actor, but that's not Val. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so my first question is, do they actually sign the deal with Amazon? Like, is it official, or are they in negotiations?
It's in the final stretch. It's pretty
Okay,
much like
so there's a reason behind that. Do you know, like, I'm gonna use an analogy of sports, Jose, because you know this. Like, when there's like a free agent and they're rumored to be signing with someone, and then
Mm.
magically they don't the next day and they sign with another team for a lot more money than you expected. I feel like that's what he's kind of doing with the cast a little bit, by meaning he's announcing these people that are interested, they actually sign a letter of intent, or is it just doing it to bring up the price of the budget that he wants, right? Because Warner Brothers said, "Good luck, go get money elsewhere." I don't think Amazon could be jumping at the idea of signing it without anybody remotely interested or showing interest. So are the actors doing a favor by saying, "Yes, we're going to show an interest in this. Maybe some of it's genuine, maybe some of it's not." For now, I can't help but to think that this is not going to be the actual cast that we're going to get all the way through. I think it's just to drive up the negotiations. But
if
also on
that
that second,
don't mean to interrupt you. If that is
yeah,
the case, to add more context, other studios that were in the running for this include Paramount and Sony. Those are the three with
okay,
the Amazon. They were in
Yeah.
the running
okay,
for this. That's what Amazon supposedly came
got it.
in with the bigger
With the
budget.
higher.
Yes.
Okay. So it makes sense, right? And Amazon right now is in a state of constantly taking a lot of swings, in my opinion, whether it's good or
Yes.
it's bad, right? Because some of them are hits, some of them are not. I love the ambitiousness of what they're doing because they're really going all in on this. They're basically giving themselves like 5 years. 5 years where they're going to grow and be one of the biggest, or we're just going to flame out and this whole thing was a failure. I love that. It's just pushing all your chips in. So I think this is part of that negotiation tactic. If I'm being honest, I highly doubt this is going to be the final cast. But then the second part of this too with Leo is have we ever seen Leo play in a prequel or a sequel of somebody else's, like another actor's
Mm.
embodiment of a character, right? Like he's never taken on that role of reinterpreting another actor's interpretation of a character. So this would be new and it seems very unlike Leo.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard for me to see that this ends up happening, at least with him. Austin Butler, I can see Austin Butler in it because it seems like says he's still kind of really trying to establish his name, at least for consistently, or for the future. It seems like he's looping himself around big budget tentpole movies. So I can see Austin Butler doing it. Leo, on the other hand, doesn't need any of this and typically shies away from these kind of projects. So I feel if there's one that I feel like they're using their name as clickbait, I feel like Leo's the name that they're using.
It's a good point. It's a real good point.
That is a very good point. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about it that way, and it would make sense because Leo is Leo. Uh, that's a big name to attach to it, and I'm sure they have the enough of a connection to be like, hey, I'm just gonna throw a name out there, try to
Yeah.
Hmm.
push this up, especially if if the issue was a budgetary issue of why WB, who's been on the roll this year. We'll have to discuss that on a future episode after the failures they've had the last few years.
Yeah.
For them to be like, you know what, Heat 2, something that has like such a big following, such as Heat, go shop it somewhere else.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
real quick with the WB thing, because they already got acquired, right, or purchased or whatever, didn't they? Like, aren't they in the
WB,
process? Yeah.
no, there's rumors around that maybe like Netflix might be trying to buy
Yeah.
them, others are,
Mm,
but it's just rumors right now. But they're having such a strong year that I don't know if that goes through. Like last
that's what I'm
year, I would have
saying.
believed it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
last year, I would have been like, "Oh, they're in trouble."
But they're on a heater right now, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like whoever the new management team of their movie division, like whoever's running that right now, those operations, it's killing it right now. So I was wondering if it was already done, then maybe the new company is maybe they're the ones that are behind some of these decisions. As you kind of transition in, because anytime they ever announce acquisitions, it's been in the process for at least like a year or two, right? Like it's always under wraps. They start to integrate their people into the operations until they officially announce it, because because to us it's always like, oh, they're going to change ownership in like 6 months. Well, for a business it usually takes years of something of that caliber, right? So but if they're not, then that's just Warner Brothers, man. They're killing it.
Yeah.
They
Hey,
are.
and we'll have that discussion, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It's quickly Heat 2 right now in your mind. Thumbs up, thumbs down on should this happen.
I wouldn't.
Should it
Yeah,
happen?
thumbs down.
If it should happen, no.
Yeah, if it should happen.
No. No. Yeah.
It's gonna happen
Yeah.
no matter
Eventually.
what.
Everything happens
It's just
eventually, yeah.
what iteration are we going to get?
Yeah. But
So
you know how this can work though, and this trying to be like a little more positive because I've been negative this whole episode. Like how this can work is that they treat it like the character Jack Ryan. Like the Jack Ryan series, it's had so many different movies, so many different actors, and all of them are pretty decent in their own right. If you treat it like that, then I think it can work. Where like it's not necessarily a Heat sequel prequel, it's just something from the Heat world, and you happen to be familiar
Hmm.
with these characters, but it's not necessarily fully connected to that story officially. Almost even like a James Bond. Like we've had so many actors,
Hmm.
funny Amazon James Bond, but like if they treat it like that, I could be more accepting of it. I think I can kind of lose myself in it more.
I'll say what I
Fair
think
enough.
that will not work is with James Bond is repetition is allowed that to happen. They've
For
done
sure.
this so
That's why I
many
said
times.
Jack Ryan first, because
Yeah, and
that
then with
that
Jack
changes more
Ryan,
often.
each thing it gets put out like its own thing. It's not like let's say the title was Jack Ryan. It's not Jack Ryan 1, Jack Ryan 2, Jack Ryan 3.
No,
Each
no,
thing
yeah, yeah, yeah.
some people don't even know they're even related because it's a whole different title on top of a whole new character and it just happens to have the character, but the general viewer doesn't even realize that's the same character from all these things because they don't link them together.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, don't call it Heat 2,
Yeah.
Like, don't call it Heat. Call it something else, but we happen to have these characters in it. You know what I mean? So if
I
it's
can see
if it's
that.
that approach, then it's like I might be more on board.
Yeah. Dan, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, no, you're good. I was gonna actually say pretty similar to what you're saying, is that there's so much more lore. When we have like the James Bonds and whatnot, there's more lore to that. And I feel like with Heat, it was such a small, contained world that I don't know if enough people know of it. Like our generation knows of it, a little older generation knows of it, but in itself, it's not necessarily intellectual property. I feel like there's enough of the characters, but if that's the approach we would take, I'm 100% on board with that. Like that's the version I would want to see, is we sort of expand the universe on it. I just don't know if it's viable would be the thing.
Yeah, you just recast it, call it Caliente, and then like here we go, we're off.
Muy caliente. That's the sequel. Muy
Muy
caliente.
caliente. People won't know.
Uh, put
Uh,
Pedro Pascal in it. Boom, you got a win.
Because we haven't got enough of him yet. We need more
Yeah,
Pedro.
yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank those of you who joined us for this episode of Not a Strong Start. If you enjoyed this episode and want to catch any of our previous episodes as well as future episodes, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button down below. That way you're alerted when we drop future episodes, and we will be dropping future episodes. If you didn't enjoy the episode, well, maybe one of the other ones will do the trick for you. You can find our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever podcasts are found. And if you love all our amazing personalities, even Dan's, or you,
No one does. That's a
yeah,
lie. He's lying. Thank you.
yeah, or you just want to hate watch us, you can find us at Not a Strong Start on all social media platforms. I have been your host for this episode, and you can find me at This Is Me Nombre Instagram.
And I am not your host. I forgot what it is to do the second, whatever the second thing is. I am not your host. Daniel, you can follow me at King_Sangre, and I did not have a snazzy nickname for this episode. So it's just Daniel. That's my nickname for today.
And I am still your other guy. You can follow me at Nicolopoulos.
And as always, we might not always have a strong start, but we guarantee to sometimes maybe have possibly a strong ending. We'll
13% of the chance. 13% of the chance we deliver.
Every time.